Access celebration. We're coming to you live from our MetroVision studio right here in Livonia, and we've got a great show planned for you tonight. Jeff Velis, resident producer of Metro Live, will be guiding you through this evening's festivities. And we'll be right back to meet Jeff after we take a brief look at Metro Live.
Why turn into Metro Live? Well, not only for the information that's offered every week. Metro Live is enjoyable and entertaining, and it's a family show. It's a show for you. It's a show not about a sitcom or not about the news from foreign places. It's about the news in your area, local happenings that you yourself can take a part of. I know I enjoy finding out things that I can do each weekend, and I wonder what I did without Metro Live.
Hello and welcome to Metro Live for the week of June 23rd through the June 29th. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Angie, and we're here to inform you about the happenings in Livonia and the Metro Detroit area.
Our format will be brought to you each week on Thursday, MetroVision Systems Channel 12 and 13.
And Friday at 5 o'clock on Channel 13 in Livonia. We'll include...
Please send it to Metro Live, care of MetroVision Production Department, 14525 Farmington Road, Livonia, Michigan, 48154. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
Hello and welcome to Channel 13 Celebration. Well, it's an honor and privilege to be here, and thank you, Susan, for that fine intro. For the next 4 hours, we will be taking a look at different aspects of community access and how it affects you. You'll be meeting some of the prominent resident producers. They'll be sharing not only highlights from their shows, but we'll show you how you can get involved. Right now, I would like you to meet our MetroVision production staff. Joining us in just a minute will be Michael Deller, host of Over the Counter, a monthly book show sponsored by Livonia Public Libraries. On his show, Michael introduces guests that are involved with some aspects of books, whether it be a librarian specializing in young adult books or an author of a unique and distinctive book. Over the Counter is always informative and interesting to watch. You can see Over the Counter here on Channel 13 most every Tuesday at 7:30. We'll be right back to meet host Michael Deller in person after we take a peek at Over the Counter. Well, and we're here back with Michael Deller this evening. Michael, thank you for being here.
That's a pleasure to be here.
In talking about Over the Counter, the first thing that comes to mind is how did it come to be? How did it start?
Well, Mary Pat Benoit had an idea for the Access channel about doing a program on books. There are bestseller lists and all kinds of things that focus attention on reading and on books. She thought it would be neat to have a program like that. She went out originally to bookstores in the area and asked them if they had a person who'd be willing to be a host for her. And the major chains could not spare staff or weren't able to cooperate to do that. So then her next idea was to try the library here in Livonia, and was directed to my office. And because I had worked with cable before, I was receptive and said, yeah, I think that's a neat idea. and suggested that maybe the reason she didn't get a bookstore person to work with her is because it wasn't an independent store, it was part of a chain, and so their advertising and their promotion is often done on a national scale. So we approached Wilma Kosel, who owned the Paper Tiger books and office supply store at that point. And Wilma had never done anything like this, but said she was willing to try. And so from that beginning came Over the Counter.
Now, on Over the Counter, you interview librarians or talk with librarians and interview authors. How do you choose which librarians to select, which authors' books to discuss?
Well, Wilma and I and Mary Pat would usually sit down and map out some of the ideas that we had for programs, and did we want to go with a theme, or did we want to go with an author, or was there something that was current that we wanted to draw attention to? We didn't always work with the bestsellers. The bestsellers are already promoted and already being requested, so we tried to focus on new materials or things that we knew people were asking questions about, and that was how we arrived at the content for many of the programs. We would select either an author that we knew was local, or we would select something that we knew was being asked about either because of the season or because of something that was in the news, and we would then build our program from there, selecting materials that were new and were likely to be found either in bookstores or in libraries.
Now, the books and the authors that you've selected, they're basically Livonia residents. Is that correct? Or in the area?
All right. The people that we've invited to be guests, when we've done a show with a guest, usually are somebody from the area. Not many people realize that the community they live in also produces authors. They think of every other place in the world as producing an author. They don't think of home being a place where you find an author. And we have a lot of authors, relatively speaking, that are here in Livonia. And so we have invited some of them on. People like Sarah Wolf, who had her first novel published in the last 18 months. So we invited her on to talk to her and see what was that like. And we're pleased to learn after the program was over that her book went into a second printing because it was well received. And the publisher was willing to take that chance and do a second printing. People like Dan Gilmartin, that you just saw a sample of that program. And other people who are interesting. And I don't think people realize the variety of books that have, in a sense, originated from Livonia. So we try and draw attention to that.
Now, you had talked about you have worked in cable prior before this job. How did you really get involved with it in starting up and working with the community access system?
Well, I told you before our program got started, it was the community where I worked before was one of the very first in Oakland County to have cable. And the night that the system was delivered to the city council, they brought the equipment in and they set it up, and this would be the first time that city council would ever be seen on the cable system in that community. I was there because I was interested, and they said, well, Mr. Deller, here, sit down here, and you will push these buttons, and you'll wear this headset, and this is how you will get the program on the air. So that was my first introduction to cable. I then took classes to learn how to do it, and the library in that community became the first city department to really use cable and to tape programs and then to rebroadcast programs on the system. And we became responsible for running the rebroadcasts of cable of the city council meetings, because they would go live and tape that night, and then it would be rebroadcast 3 times in between meetings. So I learned how to use cable, learned about the free pre-training that companies like MetroVision offer for public access, and learned how to do a program and that sort of thing before I came here.
So you definitely say it would be easier to go through the classes and learn it than
Oh,
having
yeah,
it
a
thrown
lot
into your
better
lap
than
and
having them say, here it is, push these buttons and it will work.
And this goes from there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Michael, having you here with us this evening on the Channel 13 Celebration Show. And we'll be back with this later on to help me along with an interview with the kids in the Kids Beat. And in keeping with books and the importance of reading, we have a program we would like to share with you. Designed especially for young readers, Battle of the Books is produced by resident producer Alice Keeler in cooperation with the Livonia Public Libraries. Stay with us while we watch Battle of the Books. Michael and I are back with a few of the hosts from Kids Beat. Kids Beat is a news program produced and crewed by MetroVision interns. And with us this evening we have... Angela and Elizabeth. Michael?
Well, I'm told that in order to get on Kids Beat, you had to go through an audition. What was the audition like for you, Keith?
Well, I competed against a bunch of other kids from other schools, from the schools in Livonia, and it was kind of tough competing because you didn't know what was going to pop up at you on the cue cards. So it was kind of fun and progress in the same time.
Did anything on the cue cards pose a problem for you, Elizabeth?
No, but the words are confusing.
Oh, some of the words were ones you hadn't used before? Were some of them cues, like you were going to be using on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get used to those finally? Yeah.
Kids Beat is a news program, right? And what type of things do you talk about on Kids Beat?
We talk about upcoming special events in Livonia.
And special events for kids or special events for anybody?
For anybody, really. Sometimes adults, sometimes kids, or both.
Angela, where do you get some of your information for the show? From the cue cards?
So the staff puts the information together for you? Yeah. Do any of you provide any ideas for them? Like things are happening at a school and you come in and say, hey, come on to the fair? Oh, Marshall doesn't like that. they want their part in there too. Oh, you better get their word in, otherwise nobody's going to know about it.
How long have you all been together doing this, Keith?
A year.
It's been a year.
A year.
A year clear across the board. Now, did you know each other before this, Elizabeth?
Well, I knew these two because they were my sisters in school.
Okay, so you knew each other through the school.
Yeah, I didn't know him until I met him.
Till Kids Beat came around.
Yeah.
That was your first introduction to the whole crew. Now, do you enjoy Kids Beat?
Yeah.
Great deal, and you'll be looking forward to coming back to it, doing it again in this fall. How many anchors do you have? How many hosts are there? There's 4 of you here. Are there any more that we're missing, Keisha?
The different shows, but no.
So they're filmed with other hosts. Each show's filmed with another host, and things like that.
Do you bring out any guests?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get to interview them.
Oh. Is that hard?
No.
No.
You just gotta have your questions ready and have them in your mind.
How much rehearsal do you have to do before the program?
Usually like, 1 or 2 going across the 2 cards.
No, not today. This is live. Impromptu. But for your program, do you come in early ahead of time? Yeah, so that you can get used to the questions and that sort of thing? Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for being here this evening. I'm very glad that you could make it. We'll be looking forward to Kids Beat this fall and watching you on Channel 13. We would like to show you a clip from Kids Beat and some of the other children's programs that have been produced here at MetroVision. Since May 1st, 1985, over 450 people have attended MetroVision studio workshops, and another 200 plus have been certified in remote to produce nearly 1,000 programs. That's quite an accomplishment. It starts with a phone call. You call the MetroVision production department and sign up for the remote or studio workshops. After completing 1 month of training, you too can join the ranks of resident producers capable of expressing your ideas, interests, and concerns with the rest of the community through a new and exciting communication medium, cable television. Both workshops include approximately 12 hours of training and are scheduled for 3 hours 1 evening per week for 4 weeks. Within the remote class, you learn how to produce your own show or crew someone else's show out on location. Week 1 of the remote workshop covers setup of operations of camera equipment, camera techniques, and hands-on practice. Week 2, pre-production planning, scripting, and lighting are taught. Week 3, you practice with an actual on-location shoot. And the 4th week is the all-important editing session. One thing to keep in mind is that an optional 5th week is offered, and the MetroVision staff will always be available to assist you, even after you've completed the workshop. You are ready to start your own remote production. Let's take a look at what goes on in the remote workshops.
A remote production can be accomplished with the help of as many people as you would like to include, as is done in the workshop, or can be executed by a single individual. Add to that a director, technical director, audio director, character generator, 3 camera operators, a floor director, a 27 by 32 foot studio, and lots of lights, and you have a studio production. Studio productions require a full crew of 7 to 10 people working together as a team. The first week of our studio workshop includes basic camera techniques and an introduction to the special effects generator. Week 2 is scripting and pre-production planning, which is a little different from the pre-production planning learned in the remote class, and a basic introduction to crew positions, lighting, audio, and the character generator. Week 3 is a practice session, trying out all the basics learned in weeks 1 and 2. The fourth week, you actually put together several studio productions and learn to work together as a team. The productions are then critiqued by the class members in an effort to better understand the importance of each crew position. Again, there is an optional 5th week offered for those who would like a more in-depth explanation of any particular piece of equipment, or if you would like just a little more practice. Let's take a look at a studio workshop in action. If you're interested in taking one of the MetroVision workshops, please call the MetroVision Production Department at 422-2810. We are anxious to have you join our Community Access family. For those of you who have completed the workshops and would like to get back into the swing of things, check with the MetroVision production staff. They'll help you transform your ideas into cable programs or assist you in finding programs on which you can crew. Cable programs can take any direction. Your ideas may be just right for the next Community Access cable show. Let's take a look at what some of our remote workshop graduates have produced for your enjoyment. One exciting aspect of the Community Access Department is the intern program. MetroVision maintains 5 interns at all times. These young people are communication students striving to augment their education and learning experiences by working in a professional atmosphere as part of the MetroVision staff. Through the years, interns have brought to MetroVision their own unique style and individual talents. While in the process of learning, they have enhanced community access by assisting residents in workshops, editing, crewing positions, cable casting, in addition to producing and directing their own productions, bringing to you useful and entertaining information and giving to us a renewed enthusiasm for versatility. They never ask, can this be done? They only ask, how can this be done? This evening's program is brought to you by the interns. It was their idea to share with you their view of community access in a live format. For those of you who have met and worked with our interns, you already know how valuable their special people are to us. And for those of you who haven't, we would like to show you a few of their contributions. As you watch this next series of clips of intern programming, short fillers, and public service announcements, remember these are students learning their craft. And as you will see in their first series of retakes, putting together a short promo may take a little longer than one might expect. Let's watch. Most of the programs you see on Channel 13 are programs produced by residents who have completed the MetroVision workshops. 2 such series programs are Study in Scripture with host producer Jim Parks and Perceptions with host producer Jerry Good. Both of these gentlemen have produced here since 1985. Although Perceptions is produced by Jerry Good, his crew changes on a regular basis because Jerry has allowed MetroVision to use his program as an educational tool for the training of interns. Jerry has produced 144 shows and has given many interns the opportunity to hone their skills with the guidance of the MetroVision staff. A Study in Scripture, normally a 2-camera production, has kept the majority of their original crew since its beginning. Jim Parks and his crew have given us 119 shows, which can be seen on Thursday evenings at 7:30 p.m. We'll be right back to meet Jerry Good and Jim Parks after we take a look at clips from Perceptions and A Study in Scripture. Welcome, gentlemen. This evening we have with us Jim Parks and Jerry Good. You both have been producing your shows for quite some time. Jim, what exactly got you started into studying Scripture?
Well, I guess I more or less have been looking for a ministry, and this kind of opened up. It did open up. It was something that I really wasn't looking for, but it answered all my needs anyway, as far as a ministry to the people.
You say it opened up. Was it an idea that you had to do possibly something over the air?
Yes, it had been brought to my attention about this public access being available for several years prior to my getting into it. And it, like I say, it was something that opened up. I'll never know who actually put my name in for it the first time, but somebody did, and through that I was involved in one program, and then they asked me to carry on, and consequently when I moved here I enrolled in the class to be certified here at Livonia MetroVision, and it's been growing all that time.
The rest is history.
The rest is past history.
And Jerry, how did Perceptions start? Where did the idea come from that?
I've been intrigued with the whole idea of having my own television program, producing it and hosting it and so on, with the idea of a positive approach to the whole thing, in getting beyond the person's title into the person's personality, the humanity of the person. And as a result, about 4 years ago, I went to Specs Howard School of Broadcasting. That was a very, very good experience, and then I made a tape there and brought it over to MetroVision and showed the people the tape, talked to them about my idea of a half-hour talk show, and they said, fine, let's run with it, and we've been running with it ever since.
Great, good. Now you've done over 144 shows, as we stated earlier. Where do the ideas come from? Where does your endless supply originate?
I try to put my mind in the mind of the public. What would the public be interested in hearing? What kind of a guest, what topic, and so on. For example, a steeplejack may have an interesting job to him, but the vast majority of the people may not be interested in it. Whereas an air traffic controller, that person's decisions affect the lives of many, many people every day.
Mm-hmm. at least one of us has encountered an air traffic controller in one way or the other.
Sure.
And yours is drawn from just the basic liturgy. Would that be correct? Or?
Well, it's actually kind of fits in with what Jerry is saying, only he's dealing with the humanity, and I'm dealing with the other aspect of man, which is the spiritual aspect, which I feel is lacking also a great deal today. People speak of God, and I wonder if you to pin them down, everybody has their own concept as to who God is and their own opinion. And so in our study, we just seek to lay it out before them, and realizing and acknowledging I can't change anybody, but God can, so we just pray that God will use it. As I'm sure Jerry prays that God uses his program in a different way, but same goal in mind is that the betterment of the people, beginning with the humanity right on into the spiritual aspect.
Okay. Now, Jerry, your program, as we said, has been used for a learning ground, a training for the interns at MetroVision. How did that all come about, where others are using residents as their crew?
Part of it has to do with the time that the shows are done. Mine are done in the late afternoon, and MetroVision has the professional staff here as well as those who are interning. And as a result, it was kind of a natural flow in to do that. And I had talked to Susan Fallon and Kirk Smith about it. And those folks are very, very competent. And they made some suggestions, and we took it from there, and it's all fallen into place very well.
Have you found that some of your ideas some of the ideas for the show has come from interns or the like while working with you?
No, I can't say that I have found that.
Most of them are just drawn upon what you feel, like you were speaking about earlier, what is important to the public and what they would be interested in hearing about at that moment.
Sure. And that's not to say that an intern would not have an idea worth us using on the show. It has just never come up yet.
Never happened as of yet.
Right.
And Jim, yours has been just the opposite, where Jerry's is constantly changing. Your crew has been with you virtually from the beginning.
Right. They've been very faithful. Without them, we wouldn't have the program. And they've been with me since, well, it's about I think it's actually about 121 or 119, right around in there anyway. But they're very faithful people. They really are. And the staff here has been faithful too. So I appreciate all that they do.
These crews are fun people.
They really are.
At the breaks and before and after the show and things that go on, I think it's important that people keep a sense of humor, and they do, and I try to, and as a result, it works really well.
Yeah, you see what the end results, but you ought to see sometimes
what's going on.
Watching,
the outtakes, yeah. We do remember those, don't we? Well, thank you very much for being with us this evening. Jim, we can see your show on Thursday evenings And Jerry, we can see yours Wednesday evenings at 8:30. Is that correct?
Right.
And you'll be with us later on in the show
Yes.
for another interview.
That's right.
Thank you. In addition to our regularly produced studio programs, Getting the Global Perspective is a series produced and crewed by high school students under the direction of their host and advisor, Jonathan Swift. This is a very unique series of programs in the respect that the students design the sets and crew the studio portions, and they also shoot the remote footage for the B-roll segments of their show. We are very proud of the work these young people do and are happy to present one of the Global Ed's informative programs for you tonight. Let's watch. Not only have Livonia's residents, students, and adults alike taken advantage of community access, but so have many of Livonia's organizations. MetroVision provides several access channels to Livonia. The educational channel 15 supplies useful information regarding upcoming school events, practice schedules, even elementary school menus, along with programming produced with community access equipment. The College Network channel 16 originates from Madonna College and Schoolcraft College. Along with telecourses and cablecast programs, this channel provides information regarding summer school, registration, special classes, and workshops. Livonia's Municipal Access City Channel 8 is currently cablecasting on Monday and Wednesday nights starting at 7 p.m. Originally famous for their live council meetings, Livonia's Municipal Access is branching their program itinerary and utilizing the talents of the MetroVision Workshop graduates to crew their productions. Let's go to Jerry Good, who is with Gene Treff, Program Supervisor of Livonia City's Channel 8. Joining us this evening with clips of their programs are Ann Tavolaci, producer and host of Issues Livonia, a provocative issues-oriented program running since 1985, and Terrence Reed, producer and host of Let's Talk Money, airing since January of 1988, a program bringing you the answers to financial questions such as tax planning, healthcare costs, and investing. We'll meet Ann and Terrence right after we take a look at some segments of their programs. Hello and welcome back. We're here this evening with Ann and Terry. Thank you for being here to help us with our celebration tonight on Channel 13.
Thank you for having us.
Ann, now your show's been running since 1985, and you were a member of one of the first of the production workshops here at MetroVision. Did you go through the workshop with the idea of a show, or did you just the idea of going through the workshop?
No, I had no idea of getting into a show. We were encouraged in the class to have ideas and to produce a show, and I had two classmates with me at the time, and we decided why not, and we said let's do an issue show, and we got together and our energies clicked and we did it, and it was a really great experience. And those producers are gone. I have Kathy Zotos with me now, and she takes care of the producing end of it as far as the crew. And I'm the host, and I do the topics and get the guests. So we make a really good team.
Good, good. And Terry, now you started in January.
Yes, and I started it a little bit differently. I came in with the intention of doing a show. Many of my clients and some of the school systems stated there was not a show that filled the needs that we were looking for. Shows on local financial matters, how to find a good accountant in the area, a little bit about law, how to invest small sums of money instead of large sums like Wall Street focuses on. So I came in, took the course, and took right off from there.
So many of your ideas and topics on Let's Talk Money are current issues that from friends of yours, from clients?
Well, that's a good question. What I did was, when I was thinking about doing a show, I took a yellow memo pad out and I wrote down 26 subjects I would like to learn about, topics. U.S. government funds, tax-free bonds, how to retire in the manner that you want to retire. And that's where it all came from. Those were my 26 segments.
And Ann, yours have been coming from your issues from 1985?
Well, I kind of do a little bit of what Terry does. I have my list that I keep adding to. I clip newspapers. I'm a news freak. I watch all the telecasts of news, the issue show. I'm really into that, so it's sort of an ongoing list. And of course, things do occur, issues in Livonia. I read the Observer. And I try to show things, issues that Livonians would be interested in. Like recently I introduced them to their First Lady. We had an in-depth interview with Jan Bennett, our new First Lady. And we had the building controversy in the northwest quarter of the section, so I got the builder in, the Civic Association, as well as the city planner, and together we discussed all the aspects of this problem, and I think we do fill a need in that respect.
Do any of your issues, your topics, come from, say, people that you're talking with on the street, more so than, let's say, a headline in a newspaper or in the news?
Yes, I think they come from all over.
From all over.
And some of them just pop into my head at a given moment. I might be in the kitchen and it'll pop into my head and I'll quick write it down before I forget. But yes, they come from people I know, suggestions. Come from crew members, their suggestions, and it's an ongoing process.
From all over.
Yes, from all over. Yes.
And you draw from your crew, is drawn from, now Kathy Zotos, you said, takes care of your crew.
Yes, she was in the first class with me, and
Okay.
she's still there. Yes, and
She
we're
just
very
draws.
fortunate. We normally keep the crew that we start with that year. We at least keep them for the year. So there's a continuity that gives us a quality. And we've been very fortunate with the people that have come through the workshop. Forged some nice relationships and some very talented people.
You find the same people keep coming back
Yes.
to help you out.
Yes.
And she's mentioned Kathy a couple of times. She's been a tremendous help to my show. And everyone has. I mean, I found a good spirit around here
Yes.
of people wanting to help
Absolutely.
and create something. You know, you're making a production here. It's exciting. You get to do your own show. You get to put your own input into it and express your own
But yet
views.
it's a collective effort. I mean, it's people behind the camera and everybody working together, and it's
And part of
I
the
found it a
community
great-
access
yes,
family.
Yes.
Sure.
Being here and working
It's nice
in
to
that.
be here celebrating that.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for being here this evening. And Terry, we hope to watch your show each and every week.
Okay.
And learn a little more about money and learn a little more about Livonia.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at the lighter side of the community access with a few programs we hope you'll find entertaining. People helping one another. That's what community access is all about. Whether it's teaching residents how to produce their own programs, interns assisting in editing, or residents joining together to crew each other's productions. It's that cooperative spirit that has made Livonia's Community Access Channel 13 so successful. MetroVision is very proud of our community's enthusiasm and support throughout the past years. We look forward to you joining our Community Access family. Join us Monday through Friday, 5 to 9 p.m., and watch Livonia. Bye now.